The doctor froze when she saw my results. Not the kind of pause that comes before good news, the kind that empties a room of air. I sat on the metal table, bandage on my arm, still tasting copper from the blood draw. She stared at the screen, blinked twice, then picked up the phone. "Don't leave this room," she said. Her tone didn't rise, but something inside me did. A pressure, a question. She made 3 calls, whispered, wrote something down, then left. The clock ticked loud against sterile white walls. I tried to laugh. What could possibly be that bad? An hour later, 2 men walked in, black suits, no badges. One older, one too young to be comfortable. The older one held my chart, looked at me like he already knew me. "This can't be right," he muttered. Then to me, softly, "Where were you born?" I hesitated. "Pittsburgh." He exchanged a glance with the doctor standing in the doorway. "No," he said, stepping closer, "you weren't." And in that moment, I knew whatever this was, it wasn't about medicine. It was about me. 3 months earlier, my life had already collapsed. My wife had left with everything: savings, credit, my spine. She drained the joint accounts, maxed my cards, and took the dog for good measure. The divorce papers arrived before I could even process the affair. Her lawyer was faster than my grief. I told myself I didn't care, that I'd start over, but I couldn't. Debt eats hope slowly. Rent, bills, food, every number turned red. When the flyer for a medical research trial appeared under my door, $200 felt like salvation. Sign up, get poked, get paid. Simple. Until it wasn't. When the men left the lab, the doctor avoided my eyes. She just said, "You'll be contacted soon," and pushed an envelope toward me. Inside was my payment and a single sheet of paper. Half the text was blacked out. At the bottom, a line read, "Further contact pending genetic verification." I didn't understand, but the fear was immediate, primal. That night, I dreamed of needles, and of my ex-wife's laugh echoing down hospital halls. The calls began 2 days later, unlisted numbers, silence when I answered. Then, an email from my ex. "We need to talk. It's about something important." I ignored it. Then another came, shorter this time. They called me too. I froze. The timing, the tone. She'd always been good at lying, but this one felt different. I met her at a diner outside town. She looked thinner, pale, nervous. "They came to my office," she said, fingers trembling around a coffee cup. "Asked about you, about blood types, about compatibility." I stared. "You're joking." "I'm not. They showed me a file. Your name was redacted, but I saw your birth date." Something inside me split open. Slowly, quietly. She went on, voice cracking. "They asked if I knew your parents, if I ever saw medical records from your childhood." "Why would they?" She stopped, looked at me like she just remembered she'd left me bleeding once. I didn't answer, just stood up and left. That night, I started digging. Adoption records, hospital archives, DNA testing kits ordered under fake names. Each click pulled me deeper. The truth arrived in a plain white envelope. No sender, just my name. Inside, a full genetic analysis. Half my genome didn't match any public database. The annotations were coded, but one phrase stood out in red ink. "Classified. Property of U.S. Department of Defense." I didn't breathe for a full minute. At the bottom, a handwritten note. "Your father isn't who you think he is, and your blood isn't human." I thought it was a prank. Then I remembered the doctor's face, the men in suits, the phone calls, and the faint scar on my chest, one my mother never explained. When I finally found her old medical bills, they were paid by a private entity, Helix Systems. The same name stamped on my blood report. I sat there all night, piecing it together. My life, every failure, every coincidence, felt like it had been curated, like I'd been watched. In the morning, I called my ex-wife, told her to meet me. I didn't say why. When she arrived, I handed her the report. She read it, lips shaking. "What is this?" "My inheritance," I said. Her eyes darted across the page, then up to me. You knew?" I smiled. Not until I saw the price they offered for my blood. She thought she'd destroyed me, financially, emotionally. But now, I had something she couldn't steal, something worth more than all the money she took. I leaned in close. "They're going to want to talk to you again. You were married to me. That means you're in their records too." Her face went white. "They'll want to know what you took. Every account, every document, every lie." She started to speak, but I cut her off. "You wanted everything, didn't you? Congratulations! You're part of me now." I left her there, shaking in that parking lot. That evening, I called the number on the report, told them I was ready to cooperate, for a price. They didn't hesitate. I live quietly now. The money came through. Offshore accounts, new identity, new life. Sometimes I think about her, what she's doing, whether the men in suits ever knocked on her door. They probably did. I don't lose sleep over it. She took my freedom once. Now she lives in fear of mine. I look at the scar on my chest every morning, a reminder of what I was built for, what I became. People think revenge needs rage. They're wrong. It just needs patience. And the right blood type.